Hi, this video is on adding fractions. If you want these notes, you can print them from Blackboard. Otherwise, you can just follow along and write your own notes. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what I am writing. See if this will work. Nope. Share screen. Sorry for the delay. So the reason why we're doing adding fractions is because this is something that you will continually see in other math classes. So I just want you to become familiar and comfortable with it. I know a lot of times fractions can be scary, but they're actually not. They're not scary. They're easy to do. And I'm going to show you how easy they are today. So you should be seeing my screen. Adding fractions. When we add fractions, we have to have a common denominator. That means that the bottom of the fraction has to be the same. And then once we have the bottom, which is the denominator, the same, you can add just the numerators. And I have kind of a mathematical explanation as to why we only add the numerators, but I want to show you in picture form why that works. So basically here you can see that this common denominator kind of gets factored out front. And what we're doing is we're adding the numerators over a common denominator to get 3/4. If that seems scary, I'm going to show you something else. We're going to just compare some different methods here. It says draw a circle and cut it into 4 pieces to do 2/4 plus 1/4. So these already have a common denominator, so we could easily add these, but I just want to show you in picture form why it works the way it does. So I'm going to draw a circle for 2/4, a circle for 1/4, and then their total. Add these equals that. And then I want to cut these into fourths because that's what the denominators say. And then I'm going to shade in, it says 2/4 plus 1/4. And then if I join those pieces together, it's a total of 3/4. So that's where that comes from. Now let's look at a different problem, 1/2 plus 1/4. I'm going to do the same process. Circle, whoops, circle, circle, adding these to equal that. The first fraction says 1/2. So there's only 2 parts to this circle. The next one has a denominator of 4. And then I'm going to leave the last one blank because I want to show you what's happening here. So it says 1/2 plus 1/4. Now we have different denominators. So how am I going to draw that last circle? If you look at the pictures above it, they actually represent the same thing. So I could kind of go in here and add this, let me make that better, extra piece or extra pieces. And now I have a common denominator. And I can easily say, or with confidence, I could say that 1/2 plus 1/4 is 3/4. So it's actually the same thing. Even though it looked different, it's the same. So this process that I've done where I added in that extra piece or those 2 extra pieces, that's a process of getting a common denominator. When we're adding in those pieces, it makes it to where we can see them on the same scale. Because when they're on different scales, it's like, how do I add those? You might be tempted to say that 1/2 plus 1/4 is 2/6 if you add the tops and the bottoms. But we can see in the example above it that it's not 2/6. That is not right. So why are they the same? Why are these two problems the same? Let's focus on 1/2 and 2/4. When I added that extra pink line, they ended up being equal, right? So 2/4 is kind of just a blown up version of a half. If I went through and multiplied a half by 2 on the top and bottom to keep it balanced, then I would get 2/4. So we can use that in the future examples. Let's look here. I have add 1/8 and 1/6. If you want, you can draw circles and try to add pieces until you have what you need. But I'm just going to go ahead and do this algebraically. So I'm going to look at 8 and 6. And I'm going to write down some multiples of 8 and 6. 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4. You'll notice that they share a multiple. So if I can make them have a denominator of 24, you can see maybe if you were drawing circles that 24 would be kind of difficult. So that's why I didn't draw circles for this one. Then, whoops, I spoiled it. I need to multiply 1/8 by something, and I need to multiply 1/6 by something to make them be the same. And my goal is to make it look like 24. So 8 times something is 24. We know that it's 3. 6 times something is 24. We know that it's 4. So I'm going to multiply those. And now I have a common denominator. Whoops, you can't see it. There you go. Now I have a common denominator, which means that I can add the numerators. We get 7/24. Dun, dun, dun. Pretty cool, right? Let's look at the second example over here. We have denominators of 4 and 3. So I'm going to look at multiples of 4 and 3. 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 4 times 3. 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4. So essentially, we're going to be multiplying the denominators by themselves, by the other. So the common multiple is 12. That's the smallest common multiple, which is also the least common denominator. So 4 and 3 have other numbers in common, other multiples in common, but 12 is the smallest, and I want to use the smallest so that I don't have to reduce later. So I have 3/4. I need to multiply it by something, plus 1/3. I need to multiply it by something. 4 times what is 12? 3. 3 times what is 12? 4. So I have 9/12 plus 4/12. Now that I have a common denominator, I can add the numerators. And we get 13/12. Now, this is what's called an improper fraction. So depending on what my math lab wants, or your homework, or your teacher, or whatever, I'm okay with this, but my math lab will usually want this converted. This is called an improper fraction. Improper means that the number on top is bigger. So you need to convert this to a mixed number or mixed fraction. And to do that, you take the top divided by the bottom. It goes 1 time with 1 left over. So you write that 1 time with 1 left over. This is called improper, and this is called mixed. It's mixed because it has that one whole number and then it's joined with the fraction. So it's a whole number and a fraction. And improper is because it's larger on top. So, sorry, I have hair in my face. There's that. Okay, number 3, we have some subtraction. Ooh. We've got 2 and 8 as our denominators. So we're going to look at some common multiples between 2 and 8. And we can see that 8, they have in common. Again, they're even, so they're going to have other numbers, other multiples in common. But 8 is the smallest, and we want to go with the smallest. So I'm going to multiply 1/2 by something. Whoops. 3/8 by something. 2 times what is 8? 4. 8 times what is 8? 1. So we can write a 1 here. We don't really need to, but we can. Excuse me. So this comes out to 4/8 minus 3/8, and that will be 1/8. That's it. Isn't that neat? I love that. Okay, last one here. 7 and 8 are our denominators. So if you go through and you list your multiples, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I had to go all the way down to 8, and this is going to be the same. 16 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 times 7. So their least common multiple is actually kind of a big number, but that's okay. We have 2/7 times something plus 3/8 times something. My 8 got kind of weird. Let's redo that. And then we're going to fill in. 7 times something is 56. 8 times something is 56. So then we multiply these. We multiply these. Now we have a common denominator. Oh, you can't see. There you go. Sorry. And we get our answer. Okay. The next page is or are some examples where you can try them. So I would recommend pausing this video, working these out on your own, and then checking your answers. So pause the video, work it all out, and come back or press play. All right, so I'm assuming that you worked on these on your own, so now I'm going to work through them with you. These have a common denominator of 15. So this would have to be multiplied by 3. This would have to be multiplied by 5. So that's 12/15 plus 10/15 is 22/15. And then that's improper. So we get 1 7/15. Next one, 10 and 15, 10, 20, 30. 30 would work for your least common denominator. You might have used a bigger number, and that's okay. You just have to reduce your answer at the end. So this is going to be multiplied by 3. This is going to be multiplied by 2. So we have 9/30 plus 4/30 is 13/30. Then number 7, between 6 and 7, their common denominator is 42. So we have to multiply by 7, multiply by 6. We get 35/42 plus 12/42 is 47/42, which is improper. So we divide it. You should get 1 in 5/40 seconds. Last one. These have a common denominator of 18. So the first one needs to be multiplied by 6. The second one doesn't need anything. So we're just going to leave it. And we get 11/18. That is all, my friends. That's all for adding fractions. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me and I'll be happy to help.